Hey everybody, and welcome back to my channel, and Happy New Year. Today is New Year's Eve day, and I wanted to do this video just to talk about what's in store for the next year and to see what everybody has planned, what your goals are for this coming year, and whether you're wanting to kick a habit and start a new habit, like kicking a habit like smoking or drinking or, whatever, going on a diet, or starting a new habit like going to the gym, maybe trying to exercise more and live better. And so my plan for this new year is, I'm actually building a house, a smaller house than where I live. And I had taken out a loan quite a while back and decided to go this route because once I sell my house and I move, I'll be almost, if not completely, debt free. And that's a goal I've been shooting, for the longest time. And when I had the brain injury 3.5 years ago, I had a lot of physical injuries as well, as I've said in some other videos. And it's been difficult financially working full time and earning a steady income because there were so many different injuries and issues that I had doctor appointments and therapy appointments and, this and that, where I didn't have a lot of time or the energy, or, I had a ton of fatigue and could not multitask, and standing on my feet all day is difficult because it wears my back out. Even sitting upright without reclining just, tears my back up. So I can go a certain amount of time, but extended periods of time I can't. So my goal financially, because of these issues with finances, was to get to the point where I could be debt free, because it's a struggle financially with these issues that I have had over the last 3.5 years. And anyway, so that's my goal. My goal is to be able to live well, because I'm living single, I'm solo, and I don't have somebody to pick up the slack. I don't have a backup person to pay my bills or that second income. I have to provide every bit of the income, and it's been difficult. So to become debt free is going to really help my situation because of these injuries. And so I'm looking forward to that. So my house is being built. It's almost done. I think we're about 1.5 months, or maybe 2 months at the most out before the house is ready. My house here has not sold yet, so I'm waiting on it, hopefully, to sell. The market is terrible. So once the house sells, I'll be living in my new house that is between where my daughter lives and the house that she grew up in. And it's way out in the country. She inherited her grandfather's property and house when he passed away a few years ago. So she's done some gutting and remodeling and adding on. And my house will be between hers, and then we call it the White House. That's the house we built when she was little, and she grew up there for several years. Somebody else lives there now, and I don't know them, but they seem to be a decent couple. And so I am between the White House and my daughter's house. And my house will have some good sized covered decks on 3 sides. And I'm looking forward to being able to sit out there and watch the wild animals, the deer, whatever's out there, and listen to all the nature sounds. To me, that's living well. Living solo, living well, to me, that's the epitome of living well. I live in town right now, and I hear road noise, I hear cars and traffic, I hear sirens, I just hear everything you'd hear in a neighborhood in town. And the thing I don't like about moving, and it's just because I've been used to this, but everything, the hospital, grocery stores, pharmacy, is within literally 5 minutes or less. One of the grocery stores is a minute away or less. The hospital, a minute away. Restaurants, 5 minutes away at the very most. And, I'm going to miss that because where I'll be will be not that much different, but there is a 5-minute drive into that small town from where my house will be or is. And so there's only a few small stores. So to come to my town I'm in right now, I would have to do like major grocery shopping in this town, and it would be probably 15 to 20, or I'd say 15-ish minutes from the new house. So it's not going to be terrible, but I'm spoiled here because everything, like I said, is less than 5 minutes away. Everything is very convenient. I can run out real quick and get something at the grocery store that I forgot and be right home within 10 minutes. And so I will miss that. But, when I used to live out there in the White House when my daughter grew up, we built that when she was little, and I enjoyed the peace and quiet. I was not a country girl before that, but I got used to that. And that was, that became a nice, peaceful place to live. And amidst all there were issues in the marriage when I lived in that house. So everything wasn't perfect, but the setting outside was a beautiful country setting. We had built that house, planned it, designed it, and just a nice country farmhouse. So living where I live now, it's, the convenience factor obviously is going to be different, but I think the peace of mind, because I'll be virtually debt-free, if not completely debt-free, and that to me is more, gives me more peace of mind than, being close to town. If I had to take one over the other, I'd much rather have no debt. And, maybe I'll be at that point completely. There may be a little bit I still have once I move there, but I'm looking forward to what the new year brings in that regard. Financially, I'm hoping to see my finances improve because it's been a rough 3.5 years. Like I said, holding a full-time job has been difficult. I've worked PRN and very part-time, and that seems to be more sufficient for the issues that I have right now. But living solo, you have to do everything yourself. You have to plan your finances. You have to bring in the income. You have to disperse the income, pay the bills, decide what needs to get done financially, tending to the house and things that you need to take care of. I will be so close to my daughter, just walking distance in the country, to where, if I need some help with stuff, which I'm sure I will, because I'm getting older and things happen and houses need repair and, what have you. So I will be near my daughter and her boyfriend, and hopefully I'll be able to have things taken care of, once I'm there, and I don't have to worry about calling a handyman. I can call my son-in-law or her boyfriend. And I just say son-in-law because it's easier to say. But anyway, I want to enjoy being near my daughter and her family, my grandson, my daughter's boyfriend's kids. They live there as well. My daughter does have a huge farm, and they're actually going to open a petting zoo. They're building everything up and collecting animals to have a petting zoo eventually, maybe next spring, next fall, or next summer. I'm not quite sure when the anticipated date is. But I will be living kind of across the road in the country from that. So that'll be real exciting. Next year, I'm hoping, or this coming year, 2026, I'm hoping to maybe be able to help out on her at the petting zoo, doing some easy stuff for a few hours here and a few hours there. And I'm hoping to see, what that brings if things will pan out that way. So the other thing I'm looking to do this year is to have maybe some small garden to be able to grow my own vegetables and fruits and different things. And, I did have a garden when I lived in the White House next door to the house I'm building. And my daughter's grandfather had a humongous field where he planted all kinds of vegetables and stuff. My daughter also has an area where she planted tons of things. So I want to grow some of my own vegetables, tomatoes, and different things like that. I tried to do that here in my backyard when I moved in, there were a couple of raised beds. And I put tomatoes and some other squash and zucchini, and the squirrels or rabbits or whatever would sneak into my yard and just chomp on everything. So I eventually put chicken wire up. I sprayed pepper spray. I put cayenne pepper. I did everything, and I had everything secured, and they still got in. So I don't know what was eating them up, but there were bites, literally teeth bites that you could see in the tomatoes. So I had to get rid of the planters. I couldn't grow anything. And I'm looking forward to hopefully doing that out there at the new house. Maybe I'll have the same problem with the critters that are, that were eating everything here. Who knows? So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. The other thing I'm looking forward to doing is being outside more, because it's a country setting. It's land for days. She has a lot of land that her grandfather left her. So out behind the house, there's a ton of hills and hollows and creeks, and it's beautiful. So maybe I'll do a video and show some pictures or videos of the house and the property, because it is really beautiful. So I'm looking forward to that change. And, over the last 3.5 years, with the injuries I've had and the limited exercise, it was difficult to go to the gym. I had to cancel my membership several times, and then I rejoined, and then I canceled because I hurt too much when I did upper body workouts, hurt in the back and the neck. And so I'm hoping to, because of that, because of having to limit my exercise and, mobility, and I gained some weight, and I'm hoping to lose that, or at least be a little more active as much as I can be. I used to race walk. I used to be a personal trainer, a fitness instructor. This is years and years ago. And I'm certainly not going to be back at that level, but I do want to be out and be more active. I've kind of, I've suffered from depression and anxiety after the brain injury, and that's normal when you have a TBI, but it's not me to have that way of thinking and being depressed. And so I'm hoping that being outdoors more in the daylight will help that. And I feel like I've been in this slump for the last 3.5 years. You have to understand, I've been having to deal with workers' comp doctors who were not being truthful, and trying to find truthful doctors that workers' comp would approve, who could treat me, who could diagnose me and treat me. I had lots of issues that were ignored. And in the last, I guess about a year ago, last month, so November of 24, I found a wonderful neurologist who diagnosed me with everything that he saw that the other doctors, denied and ignored. So because of these, a vision specialist this year, and vision therapy and prism glasses. So because of these two doctors, they've been able to order things to be done through workers' comp, and me get the services I need. So because of having to deal with them for 3.5 years, until I found these other doctors, and I found them through my attorney and myself calling around, but because of having the terrible doctors, it played with my mind, and it made me more depressed because nobody was listening to me. I have issues and nobody would listen, and they would just, because of workers' comp, they'd say, oh, you're fine. Everything's all fine. So that contributed to the depression and the just struggling. And so I'm hoping now that I'm on the upswing with regard to finding providers that are truthful and that are helping me, that's something I feel like is going to help with my mindset. So I'm really looking forward to that, climbing up out of this slump. Honestly, it's been rough, and I haven't liked myself. I haven't liked my thoughts, and I see a psychiatrist and a counselor through workers' comp. So we do telehealth. And so that's been very, very helpful. And as I mentioned, I think in another video, I have some medication that I take to help with it as well. I was never like this. I never had these issues before the brain injury. And all of this has been really hard because I've been active all my life. I've been, like I said, a personal trainer. I was into fitness. I did race walking. I did long distance cycling. I did all these things I loved so much. And all of a sudden it came to a screeching halt. So I want to get, I'm not going to get back into that, I know, but I want to get healthier, and I want to live well. You know, living solo, living well. I want to be able to enjoy what's left of the rest of my life. You know, I may have 30 years. I'm 64. I could live to be 100 or not. I don't know. But I want to make it better than it's been for the last 3.5 years. It's been a struggle, and you know, I'm opening up on YouTube, which has been a little bit difficult because I'm kind of a private person. I'm an introvert and I value my privacy, but you know, I feel like part of therapy or part of me healing is talking about it, because my life has been consumed by this for 3.5 years. And it is in everything I talk about, because it's been the crux of my existence for 3.5 years. There are so many things that happened neurologically from the brain injury and the other injuries to my spine that, you know, doctors have said, this is just an interesting case because there's so many things wrong with you. And well, the neurologist that I went to, the honest one, the truthful one, which he was, you know, he had told me workers' comp didn't like him. And because I asked him, why were you truthful and the other doctors were not? And he said, workers' comp doesn't like me. And it was all about money. And I hate that about work comp. You know, this has been a rough road. And I feel like 2026 is going to be the year that things start to, you know, look up and get better. You know, they have started to look up with regard to treatments, and my vision is now cared for and being treated, my issues with my vision. So I'm looking forward to seeing what 2026 holds with regard to getting better physically and mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. You know, this has played a big part on my spirituality. It's kind of knocked it down several notches because of the depression and just the, you know, frustration and the, you know, I think I was resentful of what happened and why I wasn't being cared for or getting the care I need. So I'm hoping 2026 is going to be on the upswing. So far, things have been on the upswing recently. So we'll see how this goes. And living in my new house, being debt-free, is going to help with the mental stress of finances. So I'm looking forward to that. And, you know, trying to be healthier. So I want to live solo, live well. And in order to do that, I have to attack all these different areas of my life to get them under control, to be able to live well while living solo. So please let me know in the comments below. Drop a comment and let me know what your expectations are for 2026. Do you have plans of things that you're going to change or you're going to implement? And if so, let me know what they are. I'd love to hear it. And until next time, have a safe and happy new year. And please don't drink and drive tonight. And I'll talk to you soon.